So today we're making a different clutch for a 1979 Murray lawn tractor. So to start with, we have some 2-inch wide by 2-inch wide and 1/4-inch thick. And now we have our 12-inch flat bar, or 12-inch long flat bar, 2-inch wide, 1/4-inch thick. And now I just. So here I'm just going to show you my parts. Audio here wouldn't work. So here I have a big pulley. It's not 1/2 inch for the bearing, so I made a spacer. It is right there by our bolts. I am using 1/2 inch coarse bolts with NYLOC nuts, and I have some 1/2 inch washers as well, and I have another idler pulley that is a 1/2 inch bearing for that idler pulley. 12-inch flat bar, 1/4 inch thick, and 2 inches wide is what I used for this project. You can use anything you want, as well as I have some shop snacks here for while I'm working on my project. Audio in this clip was no good as well, but we're gonna do a quick mock-up. I'm gonna put my bearing kind of adapter in, and I'm using my 1/2 inch bolt that's gonna go on the end there, and one washer on one side. Put my bolt through like so, flip it around, another washer, and then my NYLOC nut, also known as just a lock nut, and then that's going to go on the end, and then washer on my bolt, and then put my bolt on this pulley, like that. That one sits perfect. Another washer, another NYLOC nut, lock nut, and that's just going to go on the other end there. Switch the camera around over here. That's the main setup, and where my finger is where my center pivot point is going to be. I'm going to build a bracket to go off the end. I am going to be setting the welder to 1/4 inch because that is the thickness of my material, but I'm going to go down a little bit. My wire speed I want between 50 and 60. I could use auto set, but I don't like it because it pulses. There's our first tack. So there's two kind of tacks, and I'm just going to go around. I got to turn the amps or the power down a bit because it's melting the bolt right through. So I went and I cooled all this down, so now it's cool to the touch. I have my 19mm ratchet. Just gonna tighten these down and crack open our drain. So now I have a scribe. You can use a Sharpie, a pen, or a pencil, or whatever you want to use. So I know that this piece is 12 inches long. Go to 6 inches. Now I have my speed square. You want to make sure that it's sitting flush against the surface. Line it up with your line, and so I couldn't really get my square into there to mark it, and I'm not about to take off those pulleys again, so I'll just make a small mark like that, and I will go cut out my 2x2 by 1/4 piece. So here is our 2-inch by 2-inch piece. I'm going to make a mark at 1 inch in the middle, and that way we can line that up and they will both be perfectly centered. So now we have our 2-inch by 2-inch piece right there, and our lines are all lined up. And before I do that, I want to go perfectly center, and I would like to drill a hole before I weld it, because it's going to be a lot harder to get this into a vise rather than just this piece. Did the same thing for this line as I did for this line, and marked that's my dead center right there. Now I'll use a center punch, and that will give me where I need to drill. So I'm drilling my 3/8 bolt hole for my pivot point. I'm using some small drill bit that was already in the chuck at school, and a 25/64 drill bit, and my 25/64 is one size bigger than 3/8, so that way I have a bit of room to play with. and because 25/64 is bigger than 1/4 inch, I have to use a small one for a pilot hole. Anything smaller, then you're fine, but 1/4 inch and above, you need a pilot.
So our settings are going to be set to the 3/16 again, to focus, and between 5 and 6 wire speed. So same as when we welded the bolts to the flat. Looks pretty good. It could go. That's good. I will put down a bead.
Hey, thanks for watching. Look out for part 2. If you like this, please leave a like, please subscribe, and click the notification bell.